is Way Up with Angela Yee, and we got a Bayesian room today because B-Dot's in the building.
Yeah.
Guest interviewing today with Amanda Reifer.
Hey, what's up?
You guys are both from Barbados.
Yeah.
We are. We just found out just now.
Yeah.
This is my
That's really why
brother.
he's here.
Oh.
He would have left by now, but I was like, oh, Amanda
I
Reifer's
thought you would have
coming.
smuggled some sweet bread.
Well, but if I had known you was here, I would have brought some
Damn.
for you. I didn't know you were going to be here.
Oh, man.
Next time.
Next time.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here. We actually just previewed last week your new song, Are You Dumb?
Thank you.
With Pharrell.
Thank you.
A nice classic Pharrell beat, by the way.
Oh my gosh, I'm so honored. I feel so blessed to have that beat and to be able to be on there. Like, I thank you for playing it. I appreciate it.
So let's talk about that song a little bit and even working with Pharrell, because you've had some dream collabs already, but we'll get to that in a second. But Pharrell, how did that happen?
Oh man, it's a long story really, but after working with Kendrick and Blast on Die Hard and Soundwave and then Madahi and all of those guys, and Die Hard being nominated for Grammy and all of that, the creative energy in the room was so good that we started working on more and more records. And I co-wrote my whole album that's coming with Kendrick.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah, and one of the songs that we worked on while we were working on all these on this project was Are You Dumb? And the treasure chest of tracks that we went into. We had this track, and we were honored that that Pharrell was willing to bless us with this track and allow me to be on it as well. That's how that came about, and to be given the space as a woman in music by these prolific men to be able to write and record and to put my perspective out on a track, just really was an incredible experience that I appreciate so much. And these are legends that I admire and masters that I just have been able to get to learn from. And so having being blessed with that track during the writing process, that's like an honor I cannot even, that's God. That's really God who brought that about,
But I think it's also a preparation meets timing type of thing.
Yes.
Because sometimes people might see what you're doing now, right? Like they might have heard you on Miss Them Around the Big Steppers on Die Hard and been like, okay, but they don't know the whole journey it took to even get to that point where you run into Kendrick Lamar.
Oh
and
my God. It's
he's
been
like,
a long journey. You're right. You're a woman in music and look at the career and the legacy you've built and the respect that you've built, but it's not easy. It's a long road, and I'm still at the very, very beginning. And while people might be being introduced to me on these records, it's been a long road to get here. I used to be the lead singer of a band right out of high school or secondary school in Barbados.
As they say.
Yeah. I was a front woman. I was of a musical band, and we had a lot of success really quickly in that time. But even as the front woman, as a lead singer, as a woman, I felt like my voice was marginalized, and it was hard for me to have any independence as a young woman to make my own decisions. I didn't have financial independence. I didn't have creative control over what I was singing and talking about, essentially. And so going through that and having to find my own footing and leave a situation that I had known my whole life and move to LA and write for other people and put my head down and
be in a pandemic.
Yeah, all of that,
you're not familiar with like that.
Yeah, and you start with nothing, but you really gotta have the passion and you gotta commit to something if you love it, and that's what I've done over the years. And I'm just grateful for all the experiences I've had because they've been able to give me something to talk about in these rooms.
Right.
And for me to stand as a woman in my strength and in my confidence and my ability, and to be able to be given a space by men like Pharrell and Kendrick to be able to put all that down into a song.
And those are two people I heard are very respectful to women when they work with them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When we were working together, everybody I worked with on this album, they have really given me the space, like to come from an environment where I was surrounded by men but not heard, to be then have to go through what I went through to get sure about myself, to then be in another environment where these prolific men say, we want to hear you. This is a collaborative thing. Say what you got to say. that gave me so much confidence as a young woman and as an artist, to show up like multifaceted, to show all the different parts of who I am. It gives you the confidence to pull it out, you know? So I greatly appreciate that so much.
All those guys in the past, are you dumb?
Right? Are you dumb?
Kendrick was smart to have you on his album. How did you guys even hook up?
So I was invited to a studio that he was working out of. I did not know he was going to be there. And so to my surprise, he was. And he, you know, he's such a gracious person. He allowed me to play him some of the records that we have been working on.
How do you feel playing records for Kendrick? Like, because
No
I
pressure.
have to imagine as an artist sitting down playing music in front of somebody has to be a really nerve-wracking experience.
Yes, very, very. There are a lot of nerve-wracking
Because you're looking at their face, or are you like, are they bobbing their heads? Like, what's
right?
going on?
Oh my goodness. And he's very still. So, you know, it's like you kind of just, you know, and no, but I was just appreciative for the air, the time he took to listen, you know, again, you know, women, we have a hard time being heard.
Right.
So just having that space was incredible. And it gave me sort of a validation when he obviously complimented my pen, and just his time gave me a validation that I was still on the right path, you know, and that felt really good. And then to be invited to work on the album because he had a song idea that he thought would have been good for me.
And then you still don't know if it's going to make the album.
Still don't know
when
if
someone
I
does
did not
that.
know it was going to
Yeah.
make the album
Wow.
until I heard it. I mean, I knew it was like a contender. It was
Yeah.
going to be there, but you just really don't know. You
Was
know?
Blast already on the song too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so to like, you know, be on there as a writer and as a performer with these incredible people, that was just such an honor. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. But it's funny because it came at a time where I had been praying for a lot of help. I'd been praying to God for opportunity. I had just started working a little bit before that with my manager, who's an incredible woman, and she's a big reason why I was even in that studio. You know, a lot of the opportunity in my life has come from really strong, experienced women in my life, you know?
That's great.
So I had been praying for that, but it really came at a low point for me because I was in writer's block. I felt like I couldn't get anything done. And I prayed to God to help me get out of this, to give me opportunity, to help me show up. And of course, He sent the biggest opportunity of my life when I was at the lowest of my life.
And you know, it's interesting because you came from, like you said, you were the lead singer for Cover Drive. You left Barbados, you moved to London, right, or the UK.
I did, yeah.
And you guys kind of blew up. You were opening on tour for Rihanna.
Yes.
At that,
Yeah,
and
our first show we played was for Rihanna's Loud.
I mean, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's really like an overnight success story. And then to have to leave that situation to go solo and kind of start all over again, that's not easy.
Yeah, it wasn't. For sure, that period of time, I think, made people... what people experienced through the band at that time was a very feel-good, fun. We're from Barbados. We out here making music. And that's what we presented. But what we were experiencing, and what I particularly, as the only girl in the band, was experiencing through that time was kind of, you know, hard. It was, I didn't have any financial independence. I was trying to figure out who I was as a young woman in a context which was defined by the guys around me and the people who were in control of our careers at that time.
Right.
And
I saw the manager was the drummer's mother.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a challenging period of time to find my footing and who I was and my voice. I feel like every young woman should be afforded the opportunity to speak their perspective and really talk about their experiences and learn and be able to make their own decisions, because that's how you build confidence in life, you know?
Sometimes I think also people get jealous because always the lead singer gets the most attention. Lisa was up here. I don't know if you know who Lisa is because you're younger, you know, I don't know.
Girl, listen.
But she was up here talking about how, you know, she was the lead singer of the group. It's kind of a similar situation as guys that are kind of controlling everything. But it would be interviews and it'd be like, we want to talk to Lisa. And sometimes that dynamic of like behind the scenes, and then people can get a little jealous of everyone. I mean, beautiful young girl, and then you're the lead singer of the group, and that's the one that people see really and kind of gravitate to.
Yeah, I think, you know, women young girls, we are trained or taught, I feel, to make people feel comfortable, right? To keep everyone okay,
right?
And
Downplay
keep everything
yourself
good.
to make everybody else feel.
Yeah, don't be so loud. Don't speak on everything. Like, small down just a little bit. Make everyone comfortable. And I think that is a really dangerous thing that a lot of young girls go through, whether you're in music, in a band, in school, in friendship groups, in family dynamics. And that is something that I think I definitely was dealing with in terms of how do I keep everyone around me happy,
right?
And how do I but that constant self-compromise is something that you only inevitably betray yourself in, because you start to lose trust and confidence in yourself. And the more you do that, you give other people power. And I found myself in a place where I had no power in my own life, and that's not good. And there are a lot of great things that I can take from that band, and I can take from the experiences of, and a lot of blessings that came with it. But there are a lot of hard lessons that are even hard for me to talk about here now. You know?
When you were opening up for Rihanna, did she give you any advice?
Oh my gosh, we didn't get to see her talk for a long time, but we did see her after the show.
Okay,
and
I know you were like,
yeah, this was so long ago, and I was such a baby, and that's the queen, that's hometown hero there. So I was definitely in awe of her, and she was very kind and very cool and gracious and beautiful. So I have a lot of respect for her and for giving us at that time that opportunity that she gave us. Yes.
I feel like you'll end up doing something.
For
I don't
sure.
know why.
I
when
would.
She's ready.
Oh my God.
Because I see how she does also look out for other women, and then you're from where she's from.
Listen,
the talent is there.
That's a dream. I would love to work with Rihanna in any capacity.
Right.
Because
you're like, put me in the Fenty.
Yes.
I'm there.
Listen.
We can start that way.
Right. Like she has made me and my country. We're so proud, and she inspires me.
And Allison Hines is from
facet.
Barbados.
Yeah.
Allison Hines from Barbados.
I love Allison
too.
Hines.
Yes, we have Allison's incredible. Again, another legend. We have a lot of legends coming out of our little tiny island, don't we?
You're doing
That is from
Listen, right? Look,
I can't even get past
Brandon.
customs, man.
All right, now
love it.
what was the breaking point for you though? Because at a certain point you were like, I'm out of here, and I know you went to go stay with your sister in Canada.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you know a lot.
Listen,
The breaking point for me was, I got to a point where I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't know what I was doing. And I've always been someone who's so certain of my life and my purpose and what God has called me to do. And I knew that music was that for me. But a lot of the clarity and direction and joy that I had started out with was foggy, and that's hard for an artist, like hard for someone who lives by purpose, because that's how I am, So I got to a point where I was just, gosh, that's a tough question. I couldn't see out of it. And I knew I just kept waking up with the gut instinct. You got to make a move. You got to do what's right for you,
And that's a scary thing.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing when it's all you've known. That's all I had known. That's my whole, outside of school, that was my only experience. And so I had to walk away from an environment that I was very familiar with, but that wasn't really healthy. And I think a lot of people have to do that. A lot of women have to do that in relationships, friendships. In my situation, it was the band. And so I did that. And at that point too, I think the whole band, because we had started so young, was also interested in doing their own things.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I think me deciding to do it was
the catalyst, probably.
No, it wasn't even that. It just, I think it wasn't received well when I was ready to step out.
Okay.
When everyone else was...
Y'all doing your thing, but I'm supposed to just only do this?
Yeah,
right.
But...
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, but thank you. I'm glad I did too. It was tough. And I had to start over. I had to walk away from everything. I walked away with really nothing to show financially for all the work we had done.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, I even just on a social scale, everything, like I hadn't really been afforded the independence of having my own profile or identity outside of the band. And so I really had to start from scratch. And I went home, I got my family, which I think is the most important. I got grounded, I reconnected with everyone. And then after a while I was like, all right, I'm moving to LA. And they were like, what? You're doing what? So you don't got no money?
What made you pick
You don't
LA?
know anybody? Huh?
What made you say because I know people move to, they'll be like, I moved to Atlanta, I moved to New York, I moved to Miami. Why LA?
Music. It was, I knew music was in LA.
Okay.
I just knew it, and I just had a gut feeling.
You were guided.
Yeah, and I told my family I had a visa at that point, so I was like, I'm going to go to LA, and they were like, you're crazy, you know. But I did it, and that's how I've always been. I try and move on my gut feelings, and when I haven't, and I've stayed long in situations I shouldn't, is usually to my detriment.
Right.
So when I got that feeling about I've been recharged, I've reconnected my family, I've gotten my head out of that negative space that we were in and that I was in. I moved out here. I didn't really know that many people in LA, to be honest. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any money. I just was like, I could sleep on this person's couch for this time. I know that person. I reached out to a bunch of producers I had known from working over the years in the band, and I got an overwhelming amount of responses of support that
what
I
year
didn't
was
even
this?
expect. This was 2018.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
2019. Maybe?
Okay.
Are you still cool with the band members?
One of them I'm really cool with. He's a director.
Okay.
And we work together on some of my work that you'll see, because I co-direct as well. So
Okay.
we work
Do
closely.
it all.
Yeah, thank you. The others are working on their own things, and I just wish them the best always. Yeah, like, you know, we worked hard to build something, and I'm grateful for that season. And I've learned to be okay to let go and move through seasons.
Right. You just watch me from, from over there. All right. So you moved to LA 2018, 2019.
Yep.
And then pandemic hits in 2020.
Yes. Almost, I felt like I had been there 2 seconds. But in that 2 seconds, I was in studio. I was like, one thing I could rely on, and that has always helped me get through everything and has supported me, even when I was in the band, is my writing. I've been able to write and support myself and live out my musical aspirations, at least through that avenue, And so I went to LA. I was like, I'll write for anyone. That kept me busy. That helped me build relationships, helped me.
What was your first placement?
Oh, my first placement? I think it was a Kiana Lede song.
Oh, I love Kiana Lede.
Yeah. But I mean, even so, I was writing for a lot of unknown artists too, who just needed songs, and I needed money. And I can do that, And so I did that for a while, but doing that and pouring into other artists helped me to strengthen my own skills, not as a writer, but as a vocal producer as well. And it helped me build relationships with other producers who then said, are you an artist? Because this is dope. I'm like, yeah. And then we work on my things. And I had no concept of how to release music with strategy or plan or anything like that. I would just upload things to TuneCore the same day. I'll be like, 6-week release, what? I don't know what that means. I'm just going to do that. I did that independently for a while. And then after doing that for a long time, I prayed for help, because I was like, please send some good people my way, people who have the same values, people who have a vision and understand vision and can help me really walk in my purpose. And I met my manager, Carmen Murray. She's an incredible woman, such an incredibly experienced, intelligent, talented person. And having her in my corner, that really gave me a lot of confidence too to keep going. And that's when we started working towards the album. And
how did she find you?
We met randomly in a session. I was writing for another artist.
See, there you go. You got to get out.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's like the best thing to do. Like you said, just the mingling, meeting other writers, producers.
Yes.
That's how you get into those right spaces. Like I said, so you're ready, so prepared. So when the opportunity comes, you're like, I'm on go.
You know what you're talking about, because you've been in this so long. You know, you're like, you've been a part of building incredible careers and this culture. I'm putting that at the forefront. And so, again, I'm honored to sit here with you. I really mean that.
I'm excited.
I really mean that.
I'm excited to have you here too.
Oh, thank you.
Because I know we'll look back at this interview and be like, look at where she is now. It's big. And be like, listen, we did this kind of earlier on. So
yeah. And so so I met her at the studio. I had been asked to write for a new artist, and I went to do that. And I do what I do when I do something, whether it's for me or for other people. I pour my all into it, and I really, really want the best outcome. And I always want the best outcome for the good people that I come into contact with. And so I just was in the studio, and we were working on it. And she came through the second day. I didn't know she was an executive. I didn't know that she had all this experience. I just liked her as a person. And I really, really, really think it's important to trust your instincts with people. And I did with her. And then it turned out She was a executive and I was an artist.
Here
we are.
Match.
Yes.
Well, that's amazing, just a whole backstory. I want to ask you this too, being from Barbados, because you also do some more like dance hall type of music too.
Yeah, I got to get that Caribbean influence.
What's the balance for you now with that? Because it feels, you do both. Obviously, because you can't get away from your roots, and you shouldn't, because I love that as well. But what is that balance for you? Like, can you see yourself doing a full project of one thing, or do you just want to kind of incorporate both?
I mean, once a Caribbean girl, always a Caribbean girl.
Yeah.
You can't take the Caribbean out of me. Barbados is my home, and it's where I'm from. And regardless of what genre I am using or what medium I'm using to express my art, because not just music, but painting and directing, these are all avenues where I use to express myself. Regardless of what medium genre I'm in, I'm a Bajan, and so I'm repping for my country always. Just being here, this is Barbados,
Right.
And with regards to the influence in my music, of course I grew up on Caribbean music, dance hall, spooge, calypso, reggae. These are sounds that are part of who I am, and they come through my music. Sometimes more heavily than others. But it's always something I pull from. And last year we actually did a before this album, the Reifer Files that's coming, we did a project of a collection of purely Caribbean inspired songs called Island Files.
Oh,
yeah, called Island Files. That's where Sweat was on.
Yep,
when you
Sweat
bring
with
it
Sean
up.
Paul.
Big up Sean Paul, who graced me with a verse. Oh my God, he blessed me. And so I really wanted to honor my Caribbean heritage at home. And so that project was specifically for my culture, and it was sonically there. And the album to come has influences of that still, but it also has my other influences as I've left Barbados and traveled and lived in London and been here in LA and been in New York, and all of these different sounds I also grew up with, the
Right.
R&B, the soul, the hip hop. Like I'm a accumulation of all of those things.
I'm not gonna lie, I was in Jamaica with and Sean Paul came and got us to take us to like a restaurant.
Yeah,
it was a whole
my
group
God.
of us, but the music they were listening to in the car, it was like 80s and 90s. Like,
Yes.
it's so fun. But they cover a
grow-
lot of those songs
Yes.
and do like reggae versions.
Of course. And in growing up in the islands and in Barbados, we have our Caribbean music, but we're listening to hip hop. We're listening to R&B. Like
No, but this was like pop music from the 80s and
oh
90s.
pop music. Yes, we're listening to
Yacht rock.
pop
Which
music
is so
too.
funny because I'm thinking we're gonna listen to like R&B, hip hop, dance, or whatever.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I wear my sunglasses. I was like, what are we listening to?
Did you record this album in Barbados, or did you do it here over?
So
overseas?
the album, The Reifer Files,
Yes.
that's coming this year. We did that in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So it's
did
done.
that in LA. It's done. Angela, listen to me, Brian.
Yes.
Sorry, I know you're not supposed to use your first
Sounds like
name
my mom.
that. You know?
Like-
Brian.
Brian. Sorry.
Flashbacks.
No, so this album, it's been ready for 3 years.
What?
Wow.
Yes, right off of the heels of writing and recording Die Hard, because the creative flow was so good in the room. We just kept going and writing, and we've written a 17-song project. I co-wrote the whole thing with Kendrick Lamar, produced by Soundwave, most of it, Dahi, and Pharrell on this beat in particular too. And this album's been ready for 3 years.
Woman
And
Now, that's from this.
Woman Now is a part of that as well. And I'm just so relieved and excited to be having it come out this year, because it's been frustrating, and I've been angry sometimes, sad sometimes, felt demotivated that I've had this project and not been able to have it out in the world as yet. So now to finally have that moment, to be here to start releasing it, it's like now day one starts. Now the work starts. Like I got a long road ahead, but at least we're going.
Is that the Kendrick influence, taking your time and being patient and like...
I am not an inherently patient person. I will tell you, girl, the patience I have had to learn and practice over these 3 years.
But is that his? Because I know that's how they are. Like, I know him coming from the TDE camp, it's always like a timing, be patient. And then Kendrick doesn't just drop stuff, well, until it was diss track time. But before that, it's not like he just throws things out. Like, some people will be like, okay, let's put this out. We're going to put out 3 projects this year. He's not like that.
No, he's not.
And
yeah.
so what was the delay for you? Was it like, what was the plan?
The delay for me, I think, was, again, is timing, and it's God's timing. So things happen how they happen. But I had to find a home for the project. We had to then consider all the timings of things. It's just a lot of that was beyond my control.
Okay.
And I think that was the hardest pill for me to swallow, because I had this music that I have been so ready to share, but it's beyond my control. And I had to spend that time preparing, because I know it's going to happen, you know? So that's actually a lot of that time I spent filming a lot of homegrown visuals for the project as well, because I told you I love visual arts.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. Everything that you've done.
Thank you.
I mean, and I love seeing like just the videos. It looks like you're back at home in some of them.
Home in all of them.
Yeah.
Most of them. Yeah. Like I went home to do that. I worked with local creatives, because I really wanted it to be from Bajan perspective.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to come
I love
in
those
and
visuals.
Thank you. We met, some of the ones that are out already. We went to spots that we grew up on. Hot Legendary Fish Cakes. You go there in the morning before school, you know. We're in the country with the bike men, and we filming, and all of this is to come. But working with Kwesi, who's a director in Barbados, but I direct as well, so we co-directed all these visuals. And I really wanted to just bring home and that authenticity to this music, because the music really deserved that authenticity in the visuals as well, because the music is that, you know. And even though I've treasured these songs for 3 years and they're finally coming out to light, finally, thank God.
What's the date?
I can't give the album date yet, but it's coming this year.
Okay.
Coming this year.
We're not playing.
Yeah.
Beta, when have you been to Barbados last?
It's been a long, long time.
This is a shame.
Wait, what happened?
I don't know, man. I went so much as a
Brian.
kid that I haven't been back since as an adult, really. So
Shameful.
I know it's
That
shameful.
is.
Shameful. You gotta come down.
I know I have family live in Christchurch and St. Michael, so
You gotta come.
Yeah,
see.
man.
Listen, you can't. You only a flight away.
I know. Angela, let's record out of there.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, come do a show in Barbados. I'll show you around. We
actually-
do this on the beach.
The last time I was there was during the pandemic, and so I actually went to a wedding because my business partner is from Barbados.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he got married
Amazing.
there, and they didn't want to change their wedding date, and so it was tough. We landed, we had to get tested before we went, then get tested in the airport,
This is during the pandemic.
yes,
Yeah,
and it was a long process because you had to wait for everybody in the airport.
Yeah.
To get like everybody on the flight to get tested. I mean,
Yeah.
we were there for hours.
Yeah.
And then we got to the hotel. You can't leave the hotel at all. I mean, but it was fine. I still felt good.
I mean, it's not like that now.
Yeah.
Now
this
you
is during the
yeah, like
pandemic.
just for
But
the
I was
record.
still so happy to be in Barbados.
Oh, good,
Like, I was just
good.
like, we are out of New York. We are in some
Good.
sun. The hotel was beautiful. The staff was amazing until
back.
someone got COVID. And
Oh,
then,
man.
I was like, whoop.
Come back.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
we should. I think you will. I got a lot of spots to show you, because the tourist guides don't give you everything. You need
We need
to
a
come.
real
Yeah,
Real
you need to
experience.
come down.
I need
yes.
All right, B-Dot, we're going to do your show from out
Let's
there.
do it, man.
Yes.
Now, a couple more questions. Of course, I have to ask you about these. I want to know about you being a savage, because in the song Woman Now, you discussed that. And then even in this song right now, Are You Dumb?
Are you dumb?
I don't know if 3 years ago you was
No,
going through because it's like sometimes you write these songs, you could be in a relationship now.
No, I'm not. But yeah, I understand. God got me waiting on that one too. No, it's Are You Dumb, right? That's a very confident and cocky song. Like, we like
That's Remy Ma.
showing
Are you
up on
dumb?
there, but it really, and I was telling someone this, it really came from a place of being frustrated to be underestimated as a woman in every aspect of life, in starting like that situation I told you about, unheard in that environment, or just being underestimated in career or in love. People really do take advantage, and showing up with the best intentions, showing up as who I am, and just feeling marginalized, and so the frustration of that brought about this topic, which was, women are multifaceted. We deserve to be able to take up space.
You hear that, B-Dot?
You know what I'm
hear
saying?
that.
We should be heard. And again, working with masters like that, they pull the best out of you, you know. And so sitting across from Kendrick and really getting my pen sharpened, because that's no joke.
What is that process like with you and Kendrick sitting in the studio writing?
It's a collaborative process. Usually starts with a conversation with Soundwave as well, is usually around, and like the whole group of people. It's one of non-judgment, and it's a place of, for me, the position, I guess for everyone in the room it's different, but for me, I'm in there as a student because I know that these are masters that I have admired, and I want to learn what I can, and I'll say that environment, them giving me the space to show up as a writer and as an artist and as a woman in the room, and to be heard by them,
be the boss, really,
because
really,
well,
you can say, no, listen, you can say you're a student, but you're still the boss in that situation. It's your project, and you are the boss. Like, I get it, these are grades, it's all of that, but this is unique for them too, right? Because does Kendrick really write for other people like that, like a whole project?
Nah,
I don't know that I don't know that I've ever heard of that happening.
Well, I mean, we definitely, after Die Hard, and again, that group of people is incredible.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was just creative energy.
Because at the end of the day, though, it is your project.
It is,
and you can say, I don't really like this. How, like, do you do it? Like,
well, it didn't even have to do that because I'm a writer too.
Yeah,
and it showed up,
and you can switch it up.
And we definitely worked on this together, and I was given the space to have my voice heard.
Right.
My perspective, and put my pen down, and to do it with someone and people who could really just help me elevate that and become better at my craft and become better at my art. And so that experience, I will say, the greatest gift that it gave me too was confidence that I have a right to be heard in these rooms.
Yeah,
I didn't have to. Previously, when I was in, the band and stuff like that, I felt like I was always fighting for a position, and you fight, so to be really just given space and an environment that nurtured and nourished, I'm forever grateful. It's a gift I couldn't. It's just it's an incredible gift.
Kendrick didn't want to sign you like to their, because I'm just so you're signed to Atlantic?
I'm signed to Atlantic now.
Okay.
We brought the album there. It was already done when we signed over there. We had already done the album and everything.
So it's not through PG Lang Atlantic. It's just directly through Atlantic.
It's through Title IX. Remember my manager I told you about?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's her. Okay.
Yeah. So Carmen Murray. She is who I would attribute a lot of this opportunity to.
Right.
I'm really grateful for her. When we met, I signed with her, and then through her, we are distributing and working with Atlantic on this album. And she's really an angel. She's a gift. I prayed for someone like her in my life. And
That's
great.
awesome.
I hope that every artist is able to find at least one person who cares as much, who's as passionate, and who is willing to really look out for the well-being of the artist. And I'm grateful to have
managers
her.
should be grateful for artists that have loyalty to them too.
True.
Because there's a lot of times that you could get in a situation and try to cut the manager out. Like, people do that all the time.
Oh, no, not me and her.
No, I'm saying
that's
so for both ways, the reciprocation of that, that's a great thing. And like I was saying earlier about Kendrick, Soundwave, about the whole team, you would think that like he wouldn't do that for somebody that's not signed to his label.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that shows
God.
how special.
Angela, that's God. I think that there's no explaining it why. All I can say is I'm grateful. And to have that opportunity and to have the project that we now have, I can only say that's God's work. Like, right. I was given an opportunity, and I said I need this type of thing. I want to create this type of thing and these types of people, and this is what has showed up. And again, like I was telling you earlier, I just laugh because he really plays jokes on you, right? He's funny. He got because I really was not feeling myself as a writer. I was feeling like I didn't know how to say the things I wanted to say. And he said, right, well, here's your biggest opportunity.
Right. Figure it out.
I think a big part of that was me also having to recognize that it's not my own talent, it's not my own strength. It's trusting in God and trusting that that He's gonna help me through and always help me get where I need to be. So I learned a lot from that experience.
Now, listen, you said you're single right now. So what kind of man are you looking for if you had to say the qualities that are important to you?
Well, why I gotta be looking for a man now, Angela?
Well, one day.
Where we go? Yeah,
okay,
one day.
But like, what are the qualities that you like? Do you go on dates? How does somebody approach you?
I'm not a big dater. I'll be really honest. I'm a hard one to date because I don't date. I just be in the studio. I'm working.
You be like, come to the
I'm
studio,
focused.
we'll have lunch.
Yeah, exactly. You
We'll
know,
order
and
DoorDash.
or sometimes I'm so focused on something that I'm oblivious to someone even asking me. Like, I just think you're talking about work, like, you know. But for me, I think the things that I find attractive in a person and a man are for sure confidence. I think the mind, how does someone think, what's their perspective on life. I really am someone who has to get to know someone. I've never been attracted purely on a physicality. It's really on what the heart and what the mind is.
Okay, I like that.
A lot of that I find attractive. Yeah.
So looks aren't so important to you.
They are important.
No guy wants to hear that.
Let's not say they're not important.
Yeah, listen.
Girl, we're not trying to play ourselves here like that.
He's a ghoul.
Right? But no, for real, I find the most attractive thing about someone is their character and their consistency and how they show up for you or for themselves even.
Are you as confident in the bedroom as you are in your lyrics?
Girl, you know.
Oh.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. Are you dumb?
I mean, it's in there. So
Yeah.
I'll say too, in music and in the studio and writing, my writing process is one of the places that I am the most honest and free, because I feel like this studio affords me a freedom to really get all of my thoughts out, whether they're for the better or for the worse. It's a non-judgmental space. And so a lot of the things that I think about, or things I might have wanted to say in a conversation or didn't, or just a lot of the angst that I might feel that I can't express in a day-to-day place, because again, you know, women in music, we have to hold ourselves to a certain standard in order to to get through, you know. I'm able to talk about that in my music. So
I like it.
It's a freedom space for me.
It's the way a lot of us feel.
Yes.
I just want to say some of the things that you say, we express that on podcasts like Lip Service.
Good.
Yeah, like,
Good.
hold on, where are you going? You're
Right?
not done.
And I love that. I love those candid conversations that we're finally giving ourselves permission to have. And I remember growing up listening to Lauryn Hill and Eve, and thinking to myself, wow, like, look at the conversation that's happening on these songs. Like,
Right.
I love to. I want this rawness, this authenticity, these things that who's saying that, like, you know what I
love
mean?
it.
Like, even SZA, you know, expressing her insecurities and her confidences. Like, I'm very inspired by that lyrical subject matter.
I could see a SZA collab now.
I would
That
love.
could
Oh my
happen.
gosh, yes.
It might be,
you
know, she's keeping us in the dark. We don't know what might pop out, you know?
No, I have not met her, and that would be incredible because I'm a huge fan.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm excited for all of this.
Yes.
And so there's 3 singles that's out right now that people can hear, right? Is that?
So Are You Dumb just dropped.
Are You Dumb just dropped?
That's, again, yeah, that one is that's like we
That's
up.
the
We
one.
having fun. We
Yes.
up. But I have a lot more coming. But yes, when we started to, I realized that a lot of people are unaware of my music and the world that we're building. And so last year we started to roll out some of the interludes from my album.
I love the interludes.
Thank you.
They're like full, you know, I know they're like a minute or something long,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do like those.
Thank
I've
you.
been listening to the interludes.
So we wanted to introduce people to the project and really just bring them into the world. So we have some we've put those out there a little bit, but now we're getting into album mode, and Are You Dumb just dropped, and that is like,
That's your baby.
That's one of my babies. Listen, don't ask me to choose a favorite
That's
child on air.
That's a fun party song, though.
Listen,
And that's a nice, empowering women's song. And I think you can appreciate it too, B-Dot.
Of course.
As a, you know.
Because I've been in the whole phase as well. Once upon a time.
No, you
What's a
haven't.
whole phase for you?
A whole phase, it's like, you know, you're just having a lot of fun with different women.
Okay,
So I think guys go through one as well.
got you.
But
Y'all go through your lives in a whole phase. Y'all be in relationships and in a whole phase.
Whole phase is an unapologetic phase. Whole
Right.
phase is like, I'm confident. I'm doing my thing. Like, I don't really care what people think about me. I'm gonna make these decisions for myself. That, to me, that's the definition.
Yeah. And sometimes I think women, it's a different space to be in because sometimes it's hard for us to get to, you have to get to a certain place to feel like you can even be in your whole phase.
Yeah, and I think, again, whole phase is also metaphorical. It's also just, again, being in that space where you are confident in the choices you are making.
See, for B-Dot, it just meant he fucked
Yeah.
Cheese on bread.
Deeper meaning.
Listen, no, but But I hear you.
He just told on himself. Now there's gonna be 8 women. Like,
Well, it was great talking to you, man.
But no, I appreciate you so much for coming through. I'm excited to find out when this album is officially, gonna come out, so we get a release date.
I appreciate talking to you. I mean, for real, like you're such an inspiration. Again, talking to women who as confident as you, who have built the career that you've built,
thank
and
you.
as respected. Like, it's not an easy thing to do in any area of life, especially in music and especially in entertainment. And I'm sitting across from you. I'm honored, and I respect you so much. No, I'm really inspired by you.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm inspired by you. Just seeing like the path that you've been on, and you have an amazing, incredible voice too.
Thank you.
And your visuals, top tier. So I think
you.
this is going to be really amazing. And, just even the team you have around you, it's all kind of God's will. So
yeah, I mean, I attribute it to God.
Yes.
I'm grateful.
yeah. Well, congratulations on everything.
Can't
Can't wait for this. Are You Dumb?
Are You
is
Dumb?
available now, so don't be dumb. Okay?
Asking everyone that this week. Are you dumb? I mean.